Hello, happy Monday. We have a very Mercurial week ahead. It's hot as balls in Miami, and I'm like, it's like cooled down actually, and I'm like, it's still too hot for my Seattle ass, but I'm going to take a cold shower after this. The problem with Miami in the summer is like you're just like literally always sticky. It's like you come inside and then you get cold from like the sweat chills, and then you shower off, and then you go outside, and then you just get hot again, and it's like you're always just like sticky and bathing, and you know, it is what it is. And then you get caught in like a rainstorm, and that's like Mother Nature shower. So, you know, it's just, you just gotta do what you can. But wanted to come and talk about this energy that's happening, because I feel like the energy has just like 100x'd, and it's really like the dichotomy between the first half of the year, and like July has always been like when pace was gonna pick up. I knew when Uranus entered Gemini, like things were gonna lift and shift really fast, and like they already have. Like Uranus has now been in Gemini a week, and I'm like, I can't even remember the last week of my life. You agree? See, I'm like, and here's the thing too, like, I don't know if you feel this, but my like sleep has been so crazy, and like the dream space has been next level also. Like I've been getting so many freaking messages in my dream, and like waking up with like, so like I've actually had to like cool it on the caffeine, because my nervous system is like already like spicy with this energy. That, I mean, I'm also ruled by Uranus as an Aquarius rising, but I'm like, you don't even need the coffee anymore. Like, it's just like your nervous system is like jolted and like ready to go. And I don't know if you also have felt the influx of like creativity and just like information and downloads. Like I've been really needing to just ground, and like just the clarity and the things that have like been making sense, and like I'm getting so many answers for the things that like I went through like so many moons ago, like years and years and years ago. Like I'm talking like 7 years, really like closing up that Uranus and Taurus cycle. But things are gonna really be fast this week also, because it's very Mercurial, because we have Mars conjunct the South Node in Virgo. The ruler of Virgo is Mercury. Mercury stations retrograde on the 18th in Leo. And then, of course, because Uranus just went into Gemini, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So you want to like triple circle your Mercury in your birth chart, and like be like, what do I gotta do to ground and discipline my mind and get out of my mind and into my body? Because so much of our mind gets carried away because we're not embodied, and we're disassociated, and we're disconnected from our body, right? We are electric beings first. We're electric beings before we're chemical beings. And so that is why it's so important to ground into Mother Earth. That's why Taurus precedes Gemini, right? We need to be grounded in our bodies before we can actually think and create and develop ideas and innovate and express, right? You have to be grounded first. And so that's really what the last 7 years has been setting you up for, to be embodied. So that now that Uranus is in Gemini, you can just like take the messages and run. And so your embodiment and your physical body is so important, so that your mind isn't a crazy place, right? I'm a Gemini moon opposing Uranus. Like this has been my life's work to like get into my body. So what I can say is that South Node Virgo, right? South Node Virgo is being activated by Mars. And so what happens when Mars transits or links up with a placement or a planet is that point, and that planet gets activated, right? Mars is the only planet that activates. And so basically what it looks like is it's like that point like almost like comes alive, right? In the sky. And so it's like the South Node is like coming alive this week, because Mars is coming into connection with it. And so what that looks like is you can feel like you're really anxious, more worried, more critical, focus on the details, fault finding, trying to be Mr. and Mrs. Perfect, wanting to judge situations, staying in things that are unpleasant and being really inflexible. And, Virgos are the chronic worriers, right? They have like chronic and, analysis paralysis is like what I want to say. And they really are like the worrywarts of the zodiac, like low octave Virgo. And that is the way out of the South Node is always through the North Node. And that is not the vibe of the North Node in Pisces, right? The North Node in Pisces is really the 5D. I really love the Virgo Pisces axis because it really teaches you how to have the health, the body, the wellness, the discipline, the routines, the behaviors to really allow your body, right? Because your Virgo is about like your body, your health, so that you can become a cosmic channel. Because what happens with Pisces is connected to the other side very, very easily, right? It's so naturally connected to like the ocean of possibilities, of magic, of mermaids, of miracles, right? But what happens with Pisces is Pisces can just like float down fucking stream, right? Because they can be really disconnected and disassociated. So Virgo is like, no, we got to be anchored in our bodies, and then like go get the codes and channel them in and bring them in, right? Because Pisces, that's why Pisces rules the feet, because it needs to be grounded on earth to look up to the heavens and receive the downloads, receive the intuitive insights, the messages, all of that sort of stuff. And then you can take all that and go and create and move on the things, right? And so, but basically Virgo prepares your body to receive that influx of energy, right? Because so often where Pisces gets wobbled is it gets overwhelmed by like everything that it feels and all of the emotions because it doesn't have those boundaries. So it's like, it's like Pisces needs the dam, right? Like the dam like filters the water, right? Or like the stuff floating downstream. Whereas Pisces is just like, everything is welcome into my field. Like, let it all in. And Virgo is like, no, we need the barrier. We need the dam to filter things out so that we can we're only allowing in like what it discerns, right? Because Virgo purifies, it improves, and it discerns. And so Virgo really helps Pisces like filter. And so, and it's about filtering your body and taking care of your body so that you can only receive like actually what you want. And so that's why the shadow side of Pisces can be so naturally chaotic. Actually, the shadow side of Virgo can be really chaotic too, because it doesn't have that like filtration system. And so you need your habits, your behaviors, and your boundaries to really like filter in like what is positive and what is good versus like the chaos and the confusion and the crumbs and like the fear, the negativity, like da-da-da-da-da. And so, and basically Virgo helps you do this with your body, right? Because Virgo and Pisces is like the axis of health and wellness. And so, and the axis of like 3D, 5D, it's really like temperance energy, right? Like blending the 3D with the 5D. Confirmation. And so with this energy this week, it's really learning how to be embodied so that you're not in your mind. Because what happens is when you're trying to control things, because shadow side of Virgo is like the controller, the neat freak, the perfectionistic, like they can be really judgmental. It's like you're not playing the role of God, right? Like that's like the best way I could say it. It's like you're missing the fact that you are source, right? And that's what Pisces teaches us. Pisces is where the North Node is, and so we're leaning into Pisces. That is the outlet for the South Node. And so Pisces is like, well, I'm connected to the oneness of God. Like I'm connected to source, right? And it's like, that's why Pisces always look at the world with like rose-colored glasses, because they just see the best in everyone, right? Because that's really that's like really like the God view. But then Virgo is like, no, we got to like discern who we let in. So do you guys see how they like work together to like really allow you to be a powerful manifestor and a powerful creator? And so with the North Node and Pisces, it's trusting in positive outcomes. It's having faith and connection in a higher power. It's surrendering your anxieties to God, right? It is like trusting in the unknown, because the unknown is where miracles are met. And so it's very like, what's the faster way, the 5D way of manifestation or the 3D way of manifestation? And so like now that Uranus is in Gemini, it's like basically like we have this like higher arcing perspective of things that we can like look down and be like, okay, like I see the puzzle pieces and like what needs to happen. And it's like, now I can play chess and like maneuver the pieces, right? But you can't see that from like that point of view when you're in your mind, right? You can only see that higher perspective when you zoom out, right? Because your 3D mind is so limited. And so it's like going above your mind, because your mind and your body, your mind is your like how you create things, right? But your body is wired to your past because your nervous system is conditioned through experience, right? And so it's like when you disconnect, it's like you literally can just like disconnect and tap into a parallel timeline where that version of you like doesn't have that history. And then you can shift your perspective and then take action from a different place, if that makes sense, right? So it's like you're literally zooming out of like why can't I say that word? Perspective and perception of like where you currently are to like the view. I did a reel about this I can link to, about like you can then view like the 10 miles down the road and be like, okay, like I see how they're living, I see how they're behaving, I see how they're operating. But you can only do that when you're in your body. Because when you're disembodied, meaning you're not grounded, you're not connected to your body, right? It's like that energy and that information can't flow through you because your body is clogged, right? And like the energy gets stuck in the lower 3 chakras. And so that's why Virgo rules like literally like your digestion, right? It like absorbs. It is about absorption, digestion, and elimination. And so you have to be able to eliminate, right? You have to be able to release. You have to be able to let go. And that's where Virgo gets stuck if it's not trusting in like that process of release, right? Because you have to, in order to like welcome in the realm of magic and miracles, you have to be able to hold things in your body, and you have to be able to and be willing to let things go. Because that's just like the natural process of circulation, right? Like Mother Earth is not in resistance of the flow. Like Mother Earth is in flow, constant flow. And so it's like there's like this filtration of process that needs to happen. But if your body is holding on and clinging on to stories of your past, of feelings of your past, it's like you actually can't zoom out and see the higher perspective and create those shifts. And that's why support is so powerful, because like, fuck, I had a friend point something out to me like 2 weeks ago, and like my life has never been the same. I was like, wow, you saw that in 2.5 fucking seconds. And I'm like, wow, that like really just unraveled my entire existence. And she was able to see it so fast, right? Because I'm living in it. It's like, you can't see the outside of the jar from inside the jar. You know what I mean? And so you need the people who are outside of you who can see the fucking jar and be like, well, that's because your label says this, right? It's like you're in the jar of the label that has like the toxic ingredient, and you need to move to the jar that has like the happy, positive, joyful ingredient, you know? But it's like that's why support is so powerful, because someone outside of you can then reflect back to you what you're not seeing. And then that process and that perception shift happens like that. And so this is a powerful week to shift your perceptions, right? And to shift your life, really, by getting out of your head and into your body and cleansing and clearing and purifying your body so that you can be connected to those fucking galactic codes, so you can be connected to source, right? It's literally taking your power source, like in your body, that's disconnected that's connected to comfort, that's connected to your past, and literally just like plugging it into source. Because when your power source is source, like literally it's your power source, right? It's like there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing to have anxiety about, there's nothing to control, because you're connected to that higher power. And so when people are chronically disembodied, it's really a disconnection with themselves, but it's a disconnection with source, because they're they're too connected to what's happened to them in the past. And that version that's happened to them in the past is creating on loop and on spiral. I watched a movie actually over the weekend called Palm Springs with Andy Samberg. I'm fucking obsessed with Andy Samberg. He's so fucking funny. And like the movie basically is like he's like stuck in like a loop, right? And they have to like quantum like explode themselves to get out of it, right? And they like go into this cave like where their ancestors are, and where there is like this quantum entanglement, and that's how they get out of the loop. Like, spoiler alert. But they're just like constantly like recreating the same day over and over again until they go into the cave, and they literally like time hop out of it, right? Like, using like quantum physics. And it's like, that's like the whole thing. So there's this like really powerful visual, right? It's like there's like this circle. This is what I was like visualizing this morning. It's like, imagine, it's called a torus, right? I don't know if people know what a torus is, but it's like basically your body is a torus. And so basically if you imagine I don't know, I'm like fisting something, but like if you want to imagine your hand, it looks just like, picture like a circle, right? Like, but it's like really the circle is like this, but it's doing this, right? Because it's like that you're constantly happening in all these different timelines. But from your perspective, it's like you're not actually moving, but really your hand is doing this, if that makes sense. So there's like all these different timelines along the circle, along the loop. And when you can zoom up out of it, you can see the timeline that you want and then just go drop into it. But you have to get over your mind and come back into your body so that you can shift your perspective and then actually be channeled and connected to source. So let me know if that makes sense. But it's like when you can acknowledge that your mind isn't the best place to solve problems from, your mind is always trying to control things when you're dysregulated, because when you're dysregulated, you lose cognitive functioning. And so you're literally just operating from your reptilian brain. Confirmation that is focused on survival. Sorry, confirmation break. And that's like, your brain is helpful for like critical thinking and like logical thinking and being like, what should I make for dinner? Except not really. I always just like ask my body. My body is like fully in charge of me, right? I'm like, body, what do you want? Where should we go? What should we do? Right? Like, I don't really use my brain that fucking much because I'm always just fucking channeling, right? And asking my body, like that's really like the fucking flow, right? We're channeling and we're asking the body, because the body knows. Have you ever gone on a date and like you're like, well, I shouldn't have like talked my body into doing that thing. So my body told me I shouldn't have gone, you know? Like your body knows things. Your body is so instinctive and so intuitive. And so it's trusting that part of you and then trusting your connection to something higher that has all of the answers and already knows what's happening. What's so interesting to me is I did this reading with one of my friends at the beginning of the year, like back in January. And we basically did like card pulls for each other, like every single month, about like what each month was going to be about, right? And like the cards for each month have been like exact to a fucking T. And I'm like, isn't it so interesting that God knew 6 months before something happened that something was going to happen, you know? And it's like, right, because we think we have any sort, like the fact that we have any sort of like illusion that we're in control down here is like hilarious. Like we literally have no control. That's not entirely true. Like we do have control, but like if you're meant to learn something, you're going to learn something, right? And it's like, Spirit already knew in 6, because spirit isn't limited by time, right? And when you're connected to your mind and you're trying to think things out from your mind, you limit yourself to time. And so it's like spirit could tell me what was happening 6 months ahead of time because everything is happening all at once, right? And so it's like when we're connected to worry, to fear, to control, we're operating from this place of anxiousness, like time gets brought into that. right? You're like, I gotta meet the deadline by 5 p.m., right? Time, worry, fear, control, like all of those things get brought into it, right? Because you're operating from the 3D, and that's not what connects you to the magic and the miracles. But have you ever noticed when you're in play and creating and you're in the moment and you're at ease and you're enjoying your time, you disconnect from time, right? Because you're connected to the quantum in that moment when you're just enjoying your life, right? And so there is a powerful time to really quantum create right now. And this week, I like this week, when you can disconnect from the 3D and plug into source and quantum create from that place. Right? The part of you, tap into the knowledge of the part of you that's already done it, that's already mastered the freaking lesson, that already has exactly what you want. And like, let that version of you be your guide instead of trying to freaking figure everything out with your mind. Because your mind don't know jack shit. Your mind is what is blocking you and limiting you and keeping the same pattern on fucking loop. Right? And so that's why that's why people aren't creating like such miraculous shit. Like when I say like 2 weeks ago when my friend reflected this thing to me, like my life hasn't been the same. Like it legitimately hasn't been the same. And it's like we think that things have to take a long time because we're connected to time. When you're disconnected from time, when you're connected to everything that is, like literally just picture the ocean. The ocean is not fucking connected to time, right? The ocean is Pisces. It's God, it's source, right? It's spirit. They're not connected to time. Time is what we connect to when we're connected to the 3D. And so when you can disconnect from what's happening in your 3D and you can anchor in to the ocean of possibilities, you can pull everything in. And then you have to let your ego not cockblock you, right? Because as soon as you have a desire, it's already in your field waiting to orbit. It's already waiting to come in. It's orbiting you. And so the way that you allow it in to receive it is you get in your body and you get your fucking ego out of the way. And your ego is your mind, right? Because your mind is always filtering things and your body is always filtering things through your past experience. But that future version of you doesn't have the past that you have. They have a different past. So they have a different story, so they have a different belief, so they have a different reality. They have different emotions. Because they're not filtering things through the past. Let me know if this is landing for you. Because this is really what we're mastering all year with Virgo, South Node, North Node, and Pisces. But really, like, time is speeding up and things are going so fast now. And so, like, really, like, truly, like, you can now, like, achieve and receive by the end of the year, like, what you thought could happen in, like, 5 years now. Like, that's how fast and quick things are going. And so prepare your body by being in body. And it's like connecting to that part of you. It's like, how does she treat her body, right? Is she grounded? Is she resourceful? Is she trusting? Does she have faith? Is she in flow? Is she creating? Because the higher version of you isn't worried. They're not in fear. They're not fault finding. Right? These are all things that, like, illusions of the ego. Because the heart and the truth of who you are is connected to source. And source everything is already done with source. Pep talk needed. Yeah, baby. Makes sense, yes. So things are moving really fast now. Really fast. And things can just happen in a frickin' blip. I always use people to explain this, right? Like, 1 second you didn't know that person, And then you met him, and then you married the love of your life. But like at one second he was not in your life, and then the next second they were in your life. Right? That's how quick things can change. But they can't change when your mind is in control. And so the way to get out of your mind is to break the patterning and the conditioning in your body and then plugging into source. And having faith and channeling your higher self. So I got to get out of here because it's going to rain and I got to go get errands done before it starts pouring rain for the rest of the day. But it's going to be a good week to rewire. I guess I didn't really talk about Mercury retrograde in Leo, but I'll come back on and talk about that sometime this week because that's going to be, I really like this Mercury retrograde in Leo, but I love Leo energy. Leo is all about the heart. It's about your expression. It's about love. It's about romance. So you can think back to really like August 2023, what kind of themes were coming up for you, because your mind is now on board. Like maybe I'm just like speaking for myself, but August, I was like, yeah, I'm ready for a relationship. And then it's like the rest of me had to get on board, you know? It's like, that's the vibe. And it's really like a time to like rebrand your life. So, big things are happening. So sending you all my love. If you guys want further support, you can book a session with me. I'm enrolling in my one-on-one coaching. Or if you want to learn the astrology and become a full embodied, expressed, empowered version of yourself through your birth chart, you can join High Definition, which is my 5-month Astrology Mastermind Mentorship. That's happening and starts with August and goes to the end of the year. So sending you all my love. Happy Monday. Bye, guys.